From Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded Saturday, 2 June 2012, episode 18, A Salty Dog. And here we are once again.
How's it going?
It's good. It's been a very busy day for me. Started out the day doing a Discover Scuba event with some folks from the Bendix Corporation across the border there in Mexico. They have this really cool program. I wish a lot of other companies would start taking their cue from this. They have an employee wellness program.
That's awesome.
I'm like, really? So what kind of things they do? And the coordinator I spoke with, Linda Fernandez, she said what they do is they have money set aside that to use for various kinds of activities. I mean, all across the board. Her job is to look for these different activities to get involved. And of course, it's voluntary. Employees can sign up for it, but it's covered by the company.
That's great.
Now, so in this case, she contacted me. I'd been talking about this. She contacted me about doing some sort of a intro to scuba diving. I said, well, sure, we could do that. And we worked out all the details. And so we had a number of the folks that participate in this. And she's going to see if maybe the company would go so far as to actually pay for the cost of some who want to actually go for the full certification to actually get certified. I'm like, wow, that's cool. That is awesome.
That is great.
Now, the benefit of something like an employee wellness program is that the idea is you spend money to improve or maintain your employees' mental health, their emotional health, their spiritual health, their physical health. And so their productivity goes up. They are sick less often.
Right.
And just ultimately, they don't cost you nearly as much on the healthcare side of it because you're doing things that are more preventive, which I think that is absolutely amazing.
No, it is. One of the things, in like me being a law enforcement officer,
right.
I know a lot of agencies, what they tend to do is they have a kind of like a fitness
right
requirement for a lot of the officers, especially nowadays, because a lot of officers are getting sick. And, we tend to have this stereotype about, cops are overweight and, where's the donut shop and all these, stupid, ridiculous things. It's, unfortunately, we live along the border, so it's not donuts, people. It's tacos, okay?
Nice.
The donut shop we have here in town never has donuts, so we have to stick with tacos, okay?
Well, back when we had a Dunkin' Donuts, now we got this River City thing, which they're fine. I actually picked some up the other day, but it's not a Dunkin' Donut.
No, it's not. But I know some of the federal law enforcement agencies in the community here locally, Border Patrol, the U.S. Marshals, I know that they do have a quarterly thing to where they have to mandate, like they have to be able to run so far, do so many push-ups, sit-ups, and things like that, and they have to do that every 3 months just to maintain their like you said, their wellness up, because if not, then you tend to call in sick a lot, and it just wouldn't be good. It doesn't look good for the government to have their top people looking that way. So, but
what about their bottom people?
Yeah, I don't know about their bottom people. I can't speak for them, but and I know some of the I think the city employees fell under something sort of like this, to where some people got grandfathered in and some did not, so they had to kind of they had to maintain a fitness deal. I don't know the exact name of it, but yeah. So a lot of them actually can run. They run a lot.
A mile.
Yeah, more than a mile. They run more than a mile with all their gear on, which is kind of a feat in itself.
That is. I've watched the Army guys doing that. I've watched the Marines doing that. I've watched even the Border Patrol guys doing that. And that's just amazing.
You're talking about guys that are fresh out of high school, and
well, you would think, especially a lot of those that might be former football players, you would figure that they're in good enough shape that they could handle some of that stuff because they put them through some pretty rigorous training when they're getting ready for football games, etc.
Right. So that's pretty neat. The company has that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now the Air Force, at least at Laughlin, they have a. Well, for the military, they push the fitness. I mean, that's that Fit to Fight program that they've got focused on there. But the for the civilians, that they do have. They allow for a certain period of time for the employees to go out and we have a brand new fitness center at Laughlin Air Force Base, and so they encourage the civilians to take advantage of that, and a number of them do. My wife takes advantage of that. They've got a pretty good set of programs going for that to support you. They have the Health and Wellness Center, the Hawk, and so they do kind of the 360 approach, the holistic approach. But they don't have it. It's taxpayer money, so they don't have it at the extent of something like this employee wellness program. That is absolutely spectacular, in my opinion. That's amazing.
Speaking about the bays, do you play racquetball?
No, I pretty much don't do any sport at all.
I was
going to say, if you followed me at all on recent Facebook,
we won't get into that, guys.
Yeah, just no. And matter of fact, I even got into a debate with some folks over whether or not scuba diving is a sport. And there's even a magazine called Sport Diver. And I'm sorry, I qualify something as a sport if it involves some sort of scorekeeping or competitive aspect to it.
I think I was in on this one, wasn't I?
Yeah, we're a little bit.
I jumped in on this one just to kind of stir the pot a little.
Yeah, stop it. No, I tend to think of something as a sport if it has some sort of even if the competitive piece or scorekeeping is for yourself, but I don't necessarily qualify how many dives you logged or how many hours you logged in diving. That'd be like competitive flying. Is flying a competitive sport? No, but you log your hours.
I flew 16 hours.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
only flew 15 hours.
Yeah, I don't know any people that play that competition with how many hours you flew, and so diving is a similar thing. How many hours have you logged diving? So I don't qualify as a sport. Now, there are some sports you can make out of diving, and there are people who do. As a matter of fact, on the Vandenberg now, they have an annual competition with like wildly created scooters. I mean, these people take underwater scooters, they modify them, do all sorts of fancy things to them, and they actually race from one end of the Vandenberg to the other. I mean, that would be awesome just to watch. I mean, you can go on YouTube and check out the videos. I encourage you, if you're interested at all into seeing what this is like, check it out. Vandenberg races or scooter races, something like that.
I could see underwater navigation becoming a sport.
What?
Yeah, that's they come up with some weird, you
crazy guy.
Some weird navigation, and you gotta match it.
Oh no.
Okay, you're gonna go 15 feet at 380, and then you're gonna turn.
No, I just can't see that.
It's bad enough with the navigation stuff we gotta do. Can you imagine doing a star?
Oh gosh, that would be crazy. It's bad enough when you're doing like rescue diving, you're doing the search and recovery kind of thing where you have to work the patterns. That's challenging enough. Of course, you're under a lot of other pressures and duress when you're working that kind of a thing. But to do some sort of crazy nav, I mean, I'm happy when students are able to do the out and back.
Just
okay?
a straight line.
Yeah.
Just come straight, but yeah, let's do the star.
I'm gonna do an octagon with inside a circle with a square. And you don't get to end where you started. You have to end specifically over there.
Nah, yeah,
That would be
but I
bad.
totally agree.
So, so I don't necessarily qualify. But why did you ask about the racquetball? Or were you just stirring that particular pot?
No.
Okay.
I was actually asking because I myself play, and I haven't played in a long time. I used to go to the base and play on the the courts there, but it's been a while since I've been there. So I was gonna say, if you play, maybe one day we can
Invite
go.
you out.
Invite me out.
I would be like every one of those movies that you've seen where some putz has gotten in there with a guy who plays regularly and he thinks he can play, and you just watch him getting beat to death by the racquetball. That would be me.
I know as a local law enforcement, I believe the base commander is okay in letting just like myself to use the facilities there.
I think that's true. But
Yeah, but the thing is, I'd be going by myself because I can't take anybody else on the base with me.
Right.
So, that's no fun. Playing with yourself.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were going. I was suddenly thinking of that. Was it Phil Collins, or was it actually Genesis who did the song? It's no fun being an illegal alien.
Yeah, an illegal alien.
I need to look that video
That's
up.
a Genesis, actually.
Yeah, I
Genesis,
thought
yeah.
it was. That was like in the 80s, and
Actually, I have it
Now
on my
I-
iPod.
do you really?
Yeah.
And see, nowadays that song would absolutely be lambasted by every special I feel important and don't hurt my feelings group, even though it was just a song that just talks about life.
He was referring to himself because being from England, and he comes to the States.
But of course, he was in the.
Yeah.
He was dressed up as.
He was dressed
yeah.
up from Mexico.
Yeah, it was hilarious though. It was a funny song. And getting
It's actually a
messages
good
on
song.
it's got a cute little. Phil Collins' writing style was always kind of interesting. Anyway, so he. Good. His musical styles, with exception of when he went totally pop with songs like Easy
Yeah.
Lover.
And even that song I liked because I like Philip Bailey. But
Well, I was going to say, he's what rescued that song for me, because I just think Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind, and Fire has a phenomenal voice. Got to meet his sister when I was on tour with the Air Force Tops in Blue. She was running what was then called MWR, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. She was running that overseas. I forget which base it was. I want to say it was in Japan. But she was running that, and she was our coordinator. Each base has a coordinator for when the Tops and Blue cast comes through. So I got to meet her, and she talked about, told stories about her brother, and as with all sisters, they can tell some interesting stories. But that was my near brush with fame with Philip Bailey.
cool.
Via his sister.
Well, I know you like country so much.
What?
Yeah.
You were
Kenny
what are you smoking there, lad?
Kenny Rogers, the gambler, will be coming to the Lucky Eagle Casino here in Eagle Pass on June the
Who
something.
would even recognize him? He's had so much work done. That man
He's
looks
a gambler. What can I say?
he looks like a mannequin.
Yeah, he does.
His
face is all
he
pulled
can't.
back.
He's like what's her face? Joan Rivers.
Oh yeah, the face is all pulled back.
Yeah,
and-
you don't want to. No girl would kiss him on the cheek because you don't know where those have been. They started way down south. That's what I'm saying. He's not that pretty anymore. So yeah, people.
Granted, he may look a little plastic, but his voice is still good.
How can you tell he sings country western?
Yeah, true.
A friend of mine used to in one of the vocal groups that I was in years ago. He definitely liked to do a lot of the Kenny Rogers stuff. As a matter of fact, also one of our former local motorcycle cops, Bill Culpepper, used to do a lot of Kenny Rogers stuff.
Kenny Rogers.
But Bill doesn't have his face pulled back like he's in a centrifugal forced centrifuge. You know, he's not in one of those. It's just horrible. But for those who might be watching, we may have some new viewers today because after this morning I did the Discover Scuba thing, and then took a lunch break, filled tanks, and then met up with the Bautistas, Rob Bautista and his wife and 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, that I certified the kids last year, a couple of years ago, and they're getting ready to go on a trip to Cancun, if I remember correctly. And
have the kids been diving?
Not since
the cert.
Not since the cert. Although I think the boys both tried, and it was just kind of tough. You know, get the same situation we have here, trying to get people lined up to go. Because he's friends. One of them was friends of. I think it was Danny that said he was friends with 3 guys who are certified. There'd be 4 guys who dive. 4 guys who dive. So, but he wasn't able to get something going. So they're getting ready to go on this trip, and Rob and his wife have not been diving for a while. In fact, I got to see his paddy card, 89.
Wow.
He had that whole. He reminded me of one of the former. Speaking of Tops and Blue, he reminded me of any of my Tops and Blue prior friends who might be watching. If you know Robert Kalanui, he was from Hawaii. Rob Bautista looked very much like him in this picture. You had the kind of the hair and the the mustache. It's like wow. But 89 was his card. I mean, it was like. Looked weathered and looked like parchment paper.
It's all right. It's good for life. It'll
That's
work.
right. It is good for life.
He had the Magnum PI mustache.
Yeah, he did. He really did, but not as thick as Tom Selleck. But it was interesting. But they hadn't been diving for a while, so they're going to a nice place to go dive. So they wanted to get the whole family was all the kids were coming from college, etc., and coming from all different directions. So they wanted to get in a refresher dive, or just kind of top off their skills before heading to a really awesome place to dive.
Right.
That kind of brings us to our dive conditions at Lake Amistad. Wow. Last week I went with my guest host from last week, Troy McGonigal, and I'd like to thank him again for filling in.
Thank you,
Robert.
Troy.
Yeah, Robert was feeling a bit under the weather, so it was good that we had a stand-in to.
It was so bad that the doctor
How
gave me.
bad was it?
It was so bad the doctor gave me a week off of work.
Wow.
Yeah, I could not go to work.
Where can I get that? No, I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you, go to the ER. They'll hook you up.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. So anyway, went diving with him last week, and the visibility was about 15. It was about anywhere from 10 to 15 feet once you got at depth. Shallow, it wasn't very good at all. Wow, this week it's really, really bad. I mean, it was maybe 3 feet. It was horrible. Now. Once we got down.
You mean like the whole lake is only 3 feet deep, or
no? Like the visibility was only 3 feet.
I mean, you scared me. You're like, oh my god, the water dropped so much.
Literally, we're this close together, and I had to make sure that hand signals were very obvious. That's how bad it was. And I'm there with 6 people.
Yeah.
So trying to coordinate all that was a challenge. And once we got deeper, it opened up to probably about 6 feet. It wasn't as bad. Maybe pushing 8 feet. We went out by the cliffs, checked out the caves. Now, unfortunately, the 2 girls, Robin and Gabby, unfortunately, they were having some difficulty equalizing. So it kind of cut short their dive. So sorry, girls. Really would have liked to have gotten you out there. I think you really would have enjoyed in spite of the visibility, I think you would have enjoyed the caves. The wall dive. So I was there. I ended up going on with the parents and the 2 boys, and it actually turned out pretty good. We got to see a number of the caves, which are a lot shallower now. So came across one of the caves. There was a bass in there, pretty good size one, that was just sitting there. I mean, it wouldn't move, and I'm like shining a light on it. I'm like getting the rest of the divers together, like look at this, and it was just pretty wild to see a fish. Normally, as soon as you shine a light on them, something they're like, pew,
they take off,
gone. Yeah. But it was a nice dive overall.
Yeah, well, that's good.
As a matter of fact, I've got not underwater pictures, but just part of the influence, I think, of why the water, the visibility is so bad right now is it's been windy of late, and it just keeps dropping. I mean, this lake just continues to drop. I hope that they're just about done letting water out of it, because it really, and I know, yes, they'll tell you this is purely a flood control lake. It is not, it's not supposed to be a focus of recreational use, etc. It's just a reservoir. But the sad fact is, it just makes me sick to see the lake down this low. I've got some pictures comparing from when we had the dam break. We had the dam break.
Dam break.
We had the break up of the dam upstream, and it let a lot of water into the lake, and they couldn't let it out fast enough. So, and that was 2010. So I've got some shots here of Scuba Cove.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
It was amazing. Normally you pull into the parking area, such as it is, and you walk up to the ledge, and you come to in the upper right corner. You come to this little shelf or stand or whatever, and you can see the steps. Then walk on down to a paved concrete or a concrete walkway that only goes part way down, but you see that the water came all the way up to the bottom of the steps. And then the bottom shot, you can see in the distance there, you see that ledge that seems to be that lower ledge. That was the cliffs that a lot of people would jump off of. You see, I was like, what cliff?
Yeah, what?
Now, fast forward 2 years where they've been letting water out of the lake like crazy. And this is what it looks like.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Wow, look at those outrageous incisors. So in this upper right picture, you see the rails from where the steps were. So the lake used to be all the way up there, and so the lake has dropped all the way to the end, past the end of where the walkway is, and then just keeps on going. And the bottom picture is another shot of the same area. So you can see where the ledge was is actually almost at the water line. I mean, where you see in the vista, you see where the background line of the water meets. That's about where that ledge was you saw on the bottom picture here. It's just crazy that the lake has dropped that much. And you talk about tough carrying gear that far.
It's a workout. Let me
it is. You burn off a number of calories just lugging your gear back up and down. And it was sunny today and hot, and so it's just amazing that the lake is down that far. It's much sadness. So, and by the way, anybody who's watching, if you're watching us on Ustream Live, there's a chat room there. And I encourage you to jump in and just throw some questions at us, or just make some comments about the show. We definitely like to interact with you. Otherwise, you can catch the podcast later on YouTube and Vimeo.
And speaking of which, yes, I was watching the podcast last week. I was not on the chat room. I was watching, although I really was really bad. I mean, I was really sick. So I was actually watching, and I would doze off because I had my laptop on the bed.
Because we were that boring?
No, it was just I was really, really, really sick. And, strep throat is nothing to play with,
That sounds like a public service announcement.
Yeah, it
strep throat is nothing to play with.
Go to the emergency room. The doctor tells me straight up. He goes, we don't treat strep throat because it's just a sore throat. We treat strep throat because it causes heart conditions.
What? Is that what he said?
Yeah, it causes heart Heart disease. There you go.
Heart. I get the heart palpitations. I get the vapors.
Causes heart disease, so we gotta treat it. So, put me on penicillin medication for 10 days, and this stuff is like super strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
No additional stuff like when I had a tooth pulled, they gave me Vicodin.
No, and
I was like house.
This was like an all-in-one pill, I guess, because all I did was take the pill, and
you were on the pill?
I was on the pill. Yeah, I was afraid of getting impregnated.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so anyway, I barely went to work yesterday for the first time. Yesterday was my first day back to work, so it really was. It's painful.
And there go the dogs barking at probably somebody walking down the street.
It's a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, that's right.
With
Wait a minute,
DiGiorno.
I didn't order. It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. I did not order the pizza. So ultimately, now, I one of the interesting conversations that we had as a part of this dive this afternoon, Mrs. Bautista was commenting that she absolutely hated diving out here. And I get that a lot. My wife is not a fan of diving out at lakes or freshwater. She is she's what I call a saltwater snob, or she's a salty dog. She likes the salt water.
I was gonna get to like, where do you come up with the salty dog?
She's a salty dog. She likes the salt water, and I do too. I mean, there is just no comparing the visibility and the life that you get to see in saltwater. I mean, there's just no comparison. But so that was a frustrating thing for her, and for generally everybody, because the visibility was better the last time they did dive there. But the fact is, you have a lake like this, visibility good, bad, or indifferent, and it's important to take advantage of opportunities to hone your skills, to keep your skills up.
Right.
Especially, if you haven't been diving for a while and you're expecting to go to a really, really nice place, you don't want to get to that location and be fumbling over your gear or trying to remember, how do I handle a flooded mask or any of those kinds of things. You want to be able to enjoy the dive. And so if you enjoy the dive, so if you have a location, it doesn't matter what kind of what.
Nothing, just, I'm sorry.
He's got the party in his head. It's all there. Just join in anytime. But if you have a location, whether it's a stream or a lake or a pool, get out there and practice your skills. For me, the worst dive I ever had was still great. I just enjoy the aspect of being weightless and just being able to move, through the water. I want to say that I probably had the most trying first night dive ever. And I think that in most cases, this would have broke a normal person. I will not break you. My very first night dive was here at the lake, and obviously, Ms. Bautista, the visibility is not all that great. Well, can you imagine doing that at night? Visibility was the worst I think we've ever had. Yeah.
We were diving on Governor's Landing, and it was quite a few of us. I could literally not see a foot in front of me, and that was with a high-powered light that I had.
Which creates glare.
Right. It was like driving in fog.
Right.
It just shot everything back at me. And the only thing that I knew that somebody was in front of me was because I could barely see the fin just in front of my face. And that was the only way. Because I couldn't even see their light. I shut my light off, and I didn't see anything. I turned my light back on, and I still see the little fin just barely moving. Robert's fin in front of me.
Nice.
And still, though, I enjoyed it. It was awesome.
Oh, it is.
It was great.
To experience the, what was what they call it in the Never-Ending Story, the nothing.
I enjoyed the nothing.
To enjoy the aspect of being in the midst of nothing and realize that everything that happens is all you. Mm-hmm. It's all on you. that is a humbling and yet powerful experience. Now, obviously, when the visibility is better and you're on a night dive, especially if you're on a night dive out in the Caribbean, where that's where all the coral comes to life. Everything comes out. The freaks come out at night. Man, we're just like jamming to the 80s. Most of the life actually comes out at night, and it's just amazing to watch. But that's somewhat true. Even at Lake Amistad, there are fish that just you won't see them out during the day. A lot of your catfish are more nocturnal. They hide in the shadows, but it's just realizing the only thing you can see is what your light can hit. It's just otherworldly. Now, it can get very, very disconcerting, even when the visibility is good, knowing that anything could decide to show up in your field of vision.
Yeah.
Like a alligator gar.
Yeah, those things don't, and that's another thing too. I get asked that question all the time. Well, how are the gars? I've yet to see one in open water.
Yeah. They're shallow.
I used to do a lot of bow hunting fishing when I was younger here at the lake. And, of course, if you do bow fishing, you walk into, knee-deep water.
Right.
And that's where you find them in the brush and things like that. And I've killed several of them in the past. The only thing is, I've never seen one in open water. I know a lot of people think, well, there's some monsters down there,
And there are. We just haven't run across them.
There are down there, but,
usually the fishermen that catch those.
Yeah, but we don't see those where we dive. And we've been to the limit as far as recreational diving can go. Yeah. And I assure you guys out there who are listening, there's nothing for you to see down there. There's nothing but blackness and death. So, if you ask me, well, how deep is...
Thanks for the encouragement there, Scuba Bob. We're looking...
Well, that's not what I meant. Hold on. Let me.
Now my enrollment has dropped to 0. Thanks.
Let me reiterate. Let me clarify this. Let me clarify this. What I meant is, we get asked all the time, well, how deep is the lake, and people that want to go deep diving and things like that. Yeah. That is what I'm talking about. Is there's nothing for you to see down there that's worth your life. So I remember I was reading something in a magazine. I think it was a Dan magazine, where there was an article or something saying about deep diving. Deep diving is great. We like most of the things that we see is in deeper water, especially here at the lake. However, never go beyond your skill sets, because you can find yourself in tremendous trouble. But no, not to say that it's
death.
Even death is down there. But what I'm saying,
I swam across some death the other day.
Did you?
I went deep. It got really dark, and I saw a sickle. And bubbles. I figured death would be more stealthy and have like a rebreather, but no.
Okay, well, no, but that's what I was trying to say. I'm not trying to scare anybody out there and getting certified. I'm just saying, the reason I brought it up is because we were talking about diving, and visibility and things like that.
That's true, because we are two guys.
I figured, what? Let me throw this in now, because I remember reading something, and somebody had asked me a few weeks ago about doing a deep dive, and I was like, there's nothing you can see, because speaking of light, anything below about 105 feet, it gets dark, so you're gonna need a light to see anyway. When we did our dive on the abyss, it's an area we call the abyss. It's just a straight drop off, which is where we dove to about 140 feet, and it still kept going down. I don't know exactly how far it was, and I wasn't about to find out. But it was cold.
I think Death was living there at the time. Yeah, probably moved now that the lake has dropped so much.
Well, because actually he probably was, because it was about 110 degrees outside when we dropped down there. Dropped down to like 50 degrees down there. The water was cold.
Amazing.
Amazing.
It was remarkable.
Well, anyway, I mean, not to scare anybody off from diving. It's a great It's a great sport to get into.
Stop.
It's a great activity to get into. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot. You did that really good. It's a great activity to get involved in. It's a lot of fun. But again, for those of you who constantly are asking, no.
Stop asking is what he's telling you. Just stop. If the words just about escape out of your mouth, just close it. Don't ask the question.
No, we don't dive to 300 feet here.
No.
And there's
you
nothing
could. Well, probably not now. But
well, you probably could. You just there are some parts that are deep still.
It's quite pointy in parts. No. Speaking of deep parts, I'm wondering when we'll hear some news about the old Devil's River Dam opening up for diving. For those who are not familiar with the colorful history of Del Rio, Texas, and Lake Amistad, it actually is a reservoir, a flood control lake, if you will, that gathers water from the Rio Grande, the Devil's River, and the Pecos. The
Pecos?
The Pecos. It gathers water from the Pecos. And so at one point they actually had built a dam and a electricity plant using, there's a little spider on the wall, with that dam. And of course then when they decided to build the Amistad Dam, obviously that brought the water level up, and so that the old dam got flooded out. Well, evidently many years ago, somebody was diving on that and got inside, because your dam design it sounds funny.
Your damn design.
It's not my design.
It's the damn design.
Yeah, that's right.
Just didn't work.
The design of your dam.
You know what it is? Those damn engineers just didn't know what they were doing.
That's right. Oh, boy.
Moving on.
So, moving on. So, I guess a diver decided to enter the dam. And because you have the control tower, and then you have all the mechanics inside actually work the gates, etc., for flood control, etc. And I guess he went inside and wasn't certified for penetrating wrecks or caves, or was and just didn't bring the appropriate equipment, but got into the bowels of the dam and probably silted it up, got turned around, lost, and ran out of air and died. And I remember reading an article by the person who had to go diving to get him. I think he said it took him 3 dives to find the guy and finally get him out. And since that point, they made I guess they put some boards up, etc. And it's been prohibited from diving since then. Well, talking to some of one of the guys from the Park Service, it's possible they might be opening that up for diving if the internal areas are secured so that people can't penetrate. I think it'd be awesome, especially now. It'd probably be very, very shallow and easy.
Yeah, it'd probably be accessible for us a lot easier then.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm always looking for another new area to dive on. Again, most of the really, really good spots in Lake Amistad require a boat.
Well, if the water keeps dropping, we might be able to drive up to it.
Yeah, because they may be reusing the Devil's River Dam. Now open for business, we're generating electricity from the Devil's River Dam because there's no water hitting the Amistad Dam anymore. It's just sad. But so anyway, back to the original point about saltwater versus fresh. There's no comparison. Fresh water is not going to hold a candle typically to salt water, but there are a number of great places to enjoy freshwater diving where the visibility is good, and there's even some places like Athens Park that it's a quarry, it's a man-made lake really specifically for diving, and they've placed helicopter, a fire engine, aircraft, other aircraft. They've got all sorts of things actually sunk specifically there for you to dive on. So I encourage you. There's so many places across Texas to go to dive, and even saltwater. I mean, I have yet to dive off the Texas coast, but I'm hoping to this year, since we're not getting to go on a big dive trip elsewhere. But I definitely want to do that. You got the flower gardens. You got a number of ships that are sunk.
Speaking of which, are the oil rigs? You brought that up.
Oh yeah, I wanted to touch on that again too.
Are they removing the existing ones? Or
they literally are. For those who didn't catch last week's episode, I brought up an issue where it's always been on the books for oil companies, once a rig is no longer productive, that they have, I guess, 5 years to disassemble and remove the platform. Well, for a number of years, I would say decades now, a lot of them have been just left out there. They've stripped all the gear off of it, so it's just really just a platform. But because they left them, like ships that are sunk unintentionally or intentionally to create an artificial reef, these oil rigs have become a reef system all by themselves. If you look at a number of YouTube videos or pictures at various websites, especially if you're looking at like South Padre Island or Port Aransas, those areas, you will see some great pictures of various strata of life that has attached and grown and lives around these abandoned oil rigs. And they attract fishermen, they attract spear fishermen, they attract just recreational divers. And the beauty of those are, because it's like diving on a wall, you can just stay around, look at different areas around these oil rigs, and whatever your safe level is. If you only want to go down to 40 feet, there's lots of stuff that grows there. If you want to go down to 60 feet, there's lots of stuff that grows there. So you can work your way down, and it's kind of neat to watch the strata of life as you go vertically up and down on these oil rigs. Well, the environmental Nazis have decided that they are Here we go.
Here we go.
They've decided that they want to force now all these companies to go out there and remove them. So they have to just blow them up. So they've been destroying these oil rigs out there. What are you doing?
I'm looking at you.
You know, the microphone actually turns. You can
No, I understand.
You can actually turn it.
No.
You can actually turn the right.
No, this is my OCD kicking in right here because it's crooked, you know.
Oh no. Someone called the doctors.
Troy, this is what you get for messing with my mic.
He probably is not watching. He along with my wife and just about everywhere else that we know is over at a friend of ours. Their daughter graduated high school, and matter of fact,
Courtney Jones.
Yep, yeah, and Troy McGonagall's son. It's his son through his wife. Mario Neal Vega graduated too. So, and he's going off to the Marines.
Ooh, great.
Yeah, awesome.
Great. Yeah, awesome.
So, congratulations to both of them.
Yeah, definitely. I was there, and I just want to say congratulations to everyone who graduated. I hope everyone remains safe. Yes. I unfortunately had promised a lot of my ex-students that I would meet them on the field. I was looking for a few of them, ran into a couple of them, but then I was quickly had to get whisked away. We had an accident on the bleachers.
Really? Probably everybody trying to exit at the same time, fall?
Well, I don't really know what the situation was. All I know was that apparently a lady became unresponsive and was face down. And the ironic thing that really got me, and I'm just going to say it, I got pissed off, was that there was people standing around while there was an off-duty EMT guy there trying to assist this lady.
Right.
Had two of my colleague officers that were there. They were trying to assist, and there was people standing around taking pictures.
Really?
Not of her, of the woman on the ground, but they were just looking. They had no care in the world that there was a lady face down there, and that just got me so upset.
That is not cool, people.
So I mean, I understand. There was a lot of people there. There was about 590 kids that walked. plus the families and everybody else. It was probably over 2,000 people there on the field, and we were trying to get the ambulance there. It was hard. It was just a nightmare. It was
sad.
It was bad. So unfortunately, I could not stay and say hi to a lot of you all. So if you guys are watching, I know that a lot of you follow me on Facebook and stuff like that. So
and two guys who dive, hopefully.
Yeah. So if you do, please, I'm sorry that I was unable to stick around and say hello, but I had a situation that needed my attention, and but I just hope that everything went well. I'm glad. I'm proud that everyone who did make it.
Yep. It's important education.
It is.
There's a lot of kids that don't make it through this far.
And just congratulations to everybody who made it.
Awesome. So, where were we? Oh, yes.
Party.
No, the oil rigs.
Oil rigs.
So a number of these are literally being blown up. So they're killing life. The same people that are like, oh, don't touch anything because everything's sacred and it's, Gaia, blah, blah, blah.
Would this be considered like abortion?
Ooh, don't even get me on that topic. But they're killing, this life has grown on these oil rigs, and they're telling, I think that if you want to start the rule, then you grandfather the ones that are out there because life is growing on them.
Right.
And also, here's the other aspect of it. In a time where the economy is hurting so bad and every kind of job is necessary to just barely keep this economy going, why would you kill an industry, even it's a niche industry like this? But think about this: to these abandoned oil rigs create jobs for. That was interesting. Create jobs for the people who run the boats, the people who are doing all the shore support stuff, the dive shops, the fishing shops, all that stuff. It provides an opportunity for fishermen, boaters, divers to spend money in the economy to go to these places. And it also creates awareness of, keeps awareness of the kind of life that exists out there. Because 1% of the world scuba dives. So we go there, we take pictures, and we put them up on Facebook and Instagram and a number of places, and we share that with people, and they're like, wow, didn't know that existed.
I wonder if there's anybody who even takes the time to do research as far as saying, you know what, let's blow these things up, let's get them out of the water. Oh, but wait. let's check to make sure that no one is benefiting from this, because if there is, it could affect the economy, not to mention the ecosystem that's already growing on them.
I have yet to hear a case made as to what the downside is of leaving the existing ones out there, grandfathering those. If you want to say, all right, starting today, any new rigs that are out there, once you stop production, those must be removed. I can understand eventually you could potentially get to a point where there's such a proliferation of abandoned oil rigs out there that it becomes unsafe for marine traffic.
Right.
But why just carte blanche say, all right, all of you get rid of it? No, I think the smart thing to have done would have been say, okay, even if you look at them one by one and just say, all right, this one's got substantial life on it, grandfather. This one's got substantial life on it, grandfather. And then the rest of them say, all right, anything new or anything starting at this point, gone. Get rid of them. You keep to the 5-year rule. That'd be fair, I think.
I agree with you, Robert.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. All right, cool. Let's find something I agree on. Like
everything.
You're right. Like, how about, we're running close to end of time, but I wanted on our list from last week, but I wanted to get your take on it too. Is your opinion of both Battleship and Men in Black 3? But before we go there, I just want to throw this piece in because this is our tech piece of it. Windows 8 release preview.
How is
out.
it?
I like it. There are quite a few changes, and I do have a CD or a DVD for you because you asked me to get you a copy. I was like, "Why? You hate Microsoft?" But I do have a copy of that for you. I like it a lot. I like it a lot so far. I have had an opportunity to kind of test it out on a convertible, a tablet. Laptop convertible, but unfortunately, I thought that this unit was actually a touchscreen, but it's actually a pen based.
Oh, okay.
Now, I have noticed, in my opinion, if it's a pen based device and not touchscreen, because there are some that are hybrid,
right?
I don't like it as well as like with a laptop or a desktop, because I think the mouse works much better.
Well, yeah.
On the screen, there are things you can do with the mouse that it emulates your finger.
Oh, okay.
You just don't have the multi-touch capability. The pen seems a lot more stilted in what it can do. So if you've got a pen-based laptop or convertible or tablet computer, I don't think you're going to be real happy with the way that at least the Metro side of Windows 8 release preview works. I'm still anxious to see it on a full-blown touch tablet. I'm just really chomping at the bit to see that. But like I said, I'll give you your copy, and you can evaluate it on one of your machines. I'm thinking really hard about, because I've got a machine over here that, excuse me, that I've got it loaded on. I'm really getting used to it. I'm considering now, because it is the release preview, I'm considering putting it on my laptop, updating from Windows 7 to the Windows 8 release preview, because the full meal deal is supposed to, or the gold version, the RTM release to manufacturers, is supposed to come out January of next year.
Oh, okay.
So,
but this is it, right? This is
for all intents and purposes. You might see a tweak that it's just very superficial, but and bug fixes between now and then. And there are a couple of things that I found, and I'll probably get offline with you and articulate a couple of those things. I thought, I kind of went and go, huh? Raggy? But generally, I like it even better than the consumer preview. They fixed a number of things. My biggest thing was it didn't support POP3 accounts, which my email address, of course, is a POP3 account. And
so they're not supporting POP?
They are now.
Oh, they are
with
now.
the release preview, because that was the big thing. So I did a clean install rather than an upgrade. I did the clean install, so I just told it to 20 minutes from go.
Really?
To install and ready to run.
Wow.
At that point, it was just me customizing it to put the colors and stuff that I want. That I am so impressed with an install, a clean install that worked like that. Now I haven't tried the upgrade to see how fast that goes, but I was wow, and it boots even faster than the consumer preview did.
I normally don't. Me personally, from my technical aspect of things, I've never been an upgrade type guy. It's
me neither. Normally,
to me, normally, if you're gonna do an install from one operating system to another, it's always better to do a clean install.
Agreed.
If you have the disc.
Yep.
I know that if you go to a store and you see, okay, well, it's $199 for the upgrade, and then the full version is $329 or $379. It's better to save a little bit of more money and get the full install CD.
Oh, but here's the thing. Nowadays, at least with Windows, even if you buy the upgrade version, you can do a clean install.
With the upgrade?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You just choose, I want to wipe out the partition and start fresh. All it really says is by an upgrade is that you've been using a previous version of the operating system, and so you can upgrade in place, or and you're basically saying, I'm just moving up to the new version. Or you can choose nuke it and start from
well,
nuke it from orbit.
I can understand why a lot of people will do an upgrade, and the reason, in case you're not following us, why you would want to do an upgrade is if you have a lot of information already on your machine, you're upgrading the operating system, and you're not going to lose anything like pictures and documents and things like that. Yeah. If you do a clean install, it's a complete wipe, which means it wipes the actual partition off your drive and recreates it and installs the operating system on it. That will actually eliminate pictures and music and everything else that you have on there. So if you haven't backed that up, you're going to lose it. So a lot of people don't want to go through all that trouble, or they just they just don't know how to do it because there are a lot of people out there that are that way. They just prefer, I'll just upgrade it and I'm not going to lose anything. Well,
but let me tell you though, the way things are going and the way Windows 8 is really structured, if you use the SkyDrive, if you use the Microsoft's cloud, the SkyDrive, it integrates a lot with it. So the time is quickly coming where you will have virtually nothing on your machine that isn't already automatically backed up or duplicated or synchronized on the cloud. As a matter of fact, with the new SkyDrive app, it's pretty cool that you can install it on any machines that you have, and whatever that folder is, it's immediately synchronized. So if I'm doing, and so we're getting close to my nirvana, where I can work on something and get up and work on something on my desktop, get up, grab my tablet, and pick up where I left off. Or set it down and grab my smartphone and pick up where I left off. That is my nirvana right there.
Well, you're getting there.
Yep,
we're getting close.
You're coming there. And everybody's racing to that. Google's racing to that. Apple's racing to that. They actually have a very good implementation with the iCloud. There's some strength. I have to admit, there's some strengths about the iCloud that they've got kind of nailed down, mostly in the music arena. That's actually still stronger than Microsoft's. But Microsoft is taking their key. You know, everybody's seeing the same thing. People are desiring the same thing. So pretty soon it's just going to come down to which ecosystem do you like, because they're all going to give you pretty much their implementation of the same capabilities, which is cool. All right, enough about the tech, because we're right at the end of the show here. Okay, first, Battleship. What'd you think?
I haven't seen it.
You have not? Still, you have not seen it?
No, I have not seen Battleship. I have not seen MIB3 because I was sick.
You still didn't get to see it? I would have figured you'd find some way to go see it.
No.
Well, see, Tara hasn't seen it either, so I can't do spoilers. I can't do any spoilers for those who
I will
Doctor Who fans. You'll recognize that reference.
All right, but I will say this. I have not seen the movies. However, Men in Black 3 strikes me to be a movie that I would want to see more than Battleship, because to me, the Battleship has... I like the game, the original board game, and where do the aliens come in?
It has nothing to do with the game, although there is a movie version of the game now that has all the electronic sounds, and so one side is the aliens and one side is the
I
ships.
mean, had they done to where you have like a fleet of ships from Russia coming and
here's
US,
the thing,
and they start kind of bombing each other.
And I'll be honest with you, it took you asking that question to make me realize just now the thinnest link to the game. At a certain point in the movie, and I don't want to blow the story, but at a certain point in the movie, the Navy guys have to try to figure out where the alien ships are. And so it has, the mechanism they use is I think it's probably stretching. It has to do with the devices that are out in the ocean to sense like tsunamis and underwater earthquakes and stuff like that. Yes, they're like that because there are a number of those that's how we know how a tsunami is traveling.
Right.
Is these sensors. They're all over there, all over the world, actually.
Sonar buoys.
Yeah, but these are, I don't think that these are in the kind of grid that are shown in the movie, but it's an inventive use to kind of throw a little tie. When you see it, now that I've pointed this out, because it just occurred to me that that's what that had to be.
Yeah.
When you see that, you'll go, that's the tie to the game.
I want to see a good naval strategic movie, kind of like a U-571, where they're trying to find each other. Yeah. And then when they find each other, they're dropping depth charges down, and then they come up and they start shooting each other. Like Crimson Tide.
Yeah, those were good movies.
Those were good movies.
Yeah, those were good.
Great Lady Down.
Yeah. MIB3. I don't know how emotional you get. I actually cried at the end. It was a great ending. And again, I won't tell you what the ending is. Kind of saw it coming, but it still was well done. and you kind of, the quivering lower lip.
Oh, somebody died then.
No. Nobody, no. It's just one of the things you're like going, so that's why. It ties the other movies together nicely. It creates a nice... Now I have to go back and watch the first one to see if there's some things that hint to it. And this is exactly what I'm expecting next week with Prometheus.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, I've got to get with Troy because we had discussed having a Alien viewing night because we have it on Blu-ray. I want to watch it again because it's got the director's cut. I want to watch it again looking for some things that are going to be poignant in Prometheus, which is it's not a true prequel, but it's going to have some, the way
it's going to have a lot of the stuff about it.
Yeah, you're going to see some things that definitely you'll see in Alien, but the way Ridley Scott was describing it in one of the many little interview things that they've been putting on is you will see some aspects that point to things that were told kind of almost offhand, that you saw almost offhand, that were almost ancillary aspects of the Alien movie, that you'll go, oh, all right, that makes sense. This is an aspect of this piece in Prometheus. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, so I have to take Tara out to see MIB3.
The thing about like these prequels when they start coming out and stuff like that, like for example, The Thing, when they redid The Thing.
Yes, which that was actually well done. We
that
rented
was awesome. Yeah, you have to actually see the original Thing, the first one, to get an idea of, because it's weird. They did the prequel of The Thing, and where that one actually ends is exactly where the original.
It was brilliant.
It was exactly how it started.
And rarely do you see movies written so that literally hands off at the end to a movie that was a couple of decades before.
Right, and they did such a wonderful job when they redid the movie The Thing that even they didn't go over the top with the CGI and the graphics. I mean,
yeah, they kept it pretty true to the design
to
of
the original way that was done back in 80
something,
which
well, of course itself was a remake.
Mm-hmm. There was a remake from 1960.
So clearly, the Thing as it was redone was a sequel / prequel to the remake. To the remake rather than the original one that had no, James Arness was the Thing,
right,
in the original black and white one.
Yeah, it was a guy in a spandex pants. That's all it was.
Spandex. It was just makeup. Yeah, he was weird. It was like a plant thing or something.
Yeah.
So let's see. Oh, real quick, let me throw out up there for those who are interested. Okay. Again, we have our Balmorhea trip coming up very quick here. 15, 16 June, and of course another trip planned 13 to 14 July, as well as 17 through 18 August. And we're running out of time if you want to sign up for the June scuba class. I may have an entire family signing up for that, as a matter of fact. So that'll be exciting, and plus another individual. And then, of course, 26 through 29 July. And then also the 23rd through 26th of August. I will probably have at least a September class and potentially even an October class, but it totally depends on the weather, visibility, and interest. But those are typically the hottest dates right there. You want to try to contact me and sign up the first week of the month, typically, so that I have enough time to get your materials to you for your self-study portion. So check those out. Also visit our webpage at www.delriodiveclub.com, and also hit us up on Facebook / Del Rio Dive Club. Love to hear from you. And we got a late start this week, so we weren't able to get a commercial going. It was your week.
Yeah.
So we'll set you up for next week, and we'll probably get to have a review of Prometheus at that point.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to catch that. So we will be discussing that movie.
Yeah. Well, and
next
hopefully
week.
you'll get to see Battleship if it hasn't already left.
Yeah, hopefully that thing
See
burns to the
Battleship.
ground.
Yep. Nice. Battleship and MIB3. We'll
Yeah.
discuss your opinions of that.
Well, you piqued my curiosity with MIB now because the way you say it ties them all together. I kind of now want to see that.
Yep, you got to. There's some nice little homages. I think that's all that we have for this week. So, again, running a little bit late, but that's okay. We got started just a hair late. So we thank you all for joining us, those who were watching live. We encourage you to join us in the chat room right there at ustream.tv or also on Facebook on my page, Robert Wade. You can check that out. We watch those for your comments and questions and all that.
Please, we welcome your questions.
We really do. Try and stump the divers.
Yeah, stump the diver.
So, but we are typically here every week, Saturday night.
See, because when we get a chance to dive on the dam, we're gonna be the dam divers.
That's right. But we will not change the name of the show. And also, if you're in the local area or plan to be in the local area on a Saturday evening and you're not planning to go out partying or whatever y'all do on a Saturday night, we'd love to have you guest. We have an additional microphone and chair here, so we love to have guests on board, talk about anything you like to. We do focus a lot on diving because we are divers, but as you can see, we talk about a number of things, and we look forward to just sharing the goodness that is just networking of divers.
Right. Or if you find yourself just sitting around not doing anything on a Saturday evening and you want to hang out with us or up for a night dive, give us a call. Let us know.
That's right. We like to dive because we are two guys
who dive.
So we will see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel, on another episode of Two Guys Who Dive.